Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm your host and facilitator, Dr. Awanda Bennett. I am joined today with a wonderful individual that's going to help take us through some new concepts. Her name is Elaine Jackson. She's one of the leading PMP coaches. So if you're looking for your PMP, she's definitely the person to talk to. Also, she has access to a number of great tools, techniques, tips, and tricks that can make us better project managers. So she's on Final Friday as our guest and going to turn us on to some really cool things. So I will yield the floor to Elaine, and she'll tell you a little bit more about herself and what she has for us today. Elaine, if you be kind enough.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Bennett. It's such a pleasure to be here on a Friday. Friday is the one day you're like, oh my God, I made it to Friday. And then you're like, oh God, don't let Monday come too quickly. I have been in project management very long time, for a very, very long time. Was in corporate America, did training there. And then when my job ended up transitioning to India and I didn't have an opportunity to go with the job, I decided, well, I do such a great job here. Let me do it for here, for Americans here on our soil. I've been doing training since 2003, got certified in 2008 and been doing it since then. I guess, Dr. Bennett, you want your audience to know a little bit about some of the programs that I have going right now to help people transition into project management, to help people who are project
Definitely,
managers.
definitely.
Yeah, so I think it's important that people understand that you need to look at a roadmap. You need to have a coach help you build a roadmap for where you're heading, where your career is headed, where you want your income to be, where you want to see yourself doing good in the world. So I have programs that are related not only to the PMP. Everybody knows about the PMP there, but there are still a lot of people that are sitting out there without their PMP. And it is not the easiest exam to do, but it is doable. And the reason I say that, no one's ever died taking the PMP. Dr. Bennett took it. She didn't die. I took it. I didn't die. You don't see any scars all over me. The scars are internal. You know what you do to yourself when you don't study, and then you see questions on the exam. It's like, oh man, I remember that in that chapter. I should have. So, one of the things I'm doing is helping people with an accelerated program, 20 days, or actually it's 30 days of review. We call it our 324 program. 30 day, as a matter of fact, it ends today. The offer is ending today. We start tomorrow, and it's just 30 days of accountability, checking in every day. How are you doing? Did you do any studying? No, I'm going to take a break. Okay, that's okay. Or I'm going to take the week off. No, that's not okay. So just having someone hold your hand and be hold you accountable for finishing this thing in 30 days and taking your exam next month. It's so easy to say, I'm going to do it, and it doesn't happen. Another program I'm involved in is with the PMO. I'm working with a couple of very senior project managers, and what we're doing is getting the information out there that your organization can do better. You can do better. You can have somebody come in as a PMO support to your organization, or help you build a roadmap, or help you look at your health check status of your organization to make sure that you have goals. Some companies are actually operating with absolutely no goals. No goals in place, no documentation. Everybody's busy doing something, but when you look at the whole overall picture, they're not pulling it all together. So we're working with PMOs and also doing public speaking. That's one of the areas I have over 25, 35 years experience in doing, helping people to be better public speakers. For job interviews, for your raises, you have to speak up. It's not going to happen automatically. For your transition to a new job, you need to be able to speak up, represent yourself, answer questions, and hold your cool. So today, I do believe we're talking about a tool called PM Zone. And I know Dr. Bennett is so excited because she's looking at an opportunity to bring that to not only her PMI chapter, but for her to understand more about how it helps project managers do better, get better results.
Yes, I'm supremely excited about this tool because I believe it'll help me. I'm in professional development. All I ever want to do is help people get better in their careers and get better in my own career. So when Elaine told me about this fantastic game, I am a gamer. I love games. I had to stop the games in order to get my degrees. That's how much I was playing. I was playing so much I had no time to complete my education. So I stopped the games for a while, put them on pause, got my education. Now I'm back to the games, and I'm so thrilled about it because I believe learning should be fun, interactive, and seamless with life. Meaning that I believe project management is a lifestyle, and I also believe it's a skill. So I want to talk more about this game that you're telling me about. I'm so excited. Tell me more.
Yeah, so the owner of the game is Daniel Zitter out of Israel. He was actually at the PMI conference in December, and he got project managers to sit down and go through the game, a couple iterations of the game. It is a board game, and there's also a virtual game, a model of it. But one format is in waterfall, which is a traditional approach to project management, and the other is a agile. And with those two games, a company can decide, well, what approach are we using? Do we need to plan our project out and then maintain our baselines, or can we have a more loose approach, which seems to be the way a lot of projects are going, where you want to have a loose approach to make changes on the fly, knowing that in the end result will be exactly what the customer wants. And so the game is set to help project managers understand their flaws or their problems. Sometimes you think, oh, I'm just a project manager. And then you sit down to play the game, and the behaviors you did as a kid, right? Cheating, holding things under the table, just do you do that in real life? Do you do that in real life? Do you do things in real life that you sometimes bring onto the project and you're like, oh, it's okay, you justify the cheating, the lying to customers, fudging results, not giving the report, or giving the report late, hoping the report will now have acceptable information. Whereas, had you given it last week, it might have been a problem. So this game, I want you to ask questions because I mean, as you well know, as I was one of your instructors, right, for the PMP, I can talk from now till next week and just take a few bathroom breaks and get a couple of food going on in here and just keep going. So I know the listeners right now don't want to go through that. They're like, oh, not on a Friday. So what I want you to do, Dr. Bennett, is ask me some questions. I think you have a little scenario that
Okay.
you may have experienced.
I do have a scenario that I'd like to share with you, and it's a real life scenario. It is one where there are three layers of accountability. One at the individual level, like for our resources, like our developers. The next level are our project managers or project leads, which are somewhat like scrum masters. Then we have their leads. And the problem that they're having is that they have a single point of truth, which is the Azure DevOps board. And this board is to be updated daily, if not twice a day, in order to keep an accurate count because they're doing more adaptive project management rather than predictive project management. So when you think waterfall, think predictive. When you think agile, think adaptive. And in this adaptive world, they have taken on the bad habit of not doing the updates daily in order to make sure that our ADO board is not a liar's board, that it has this information. They're using Kanban and cards. And it's just become not rather ridiculous, but the what's happening for our scenario is that it's not allowing us to see people's true capacity. So we can't assign them more work. Uh, in the board, it will say they're only 10% engaged, but in real life, they're 100% and more engaged. And because they haven't kept that board updated, it appears as if they have more time than they truly do. So I want to ask you, how do you use the game maybe to help them start understanding that when they do their right thing, that it helps everybody within that entire system?
Okay.
What's a way that we could use that game to get them more engaged?
Excellent. So, as you well know, I'm not technical like you. I mean, you just know all the tools out there, all the games, all the resources. I've heard of them, but I don't know all the ins and outs. But I can tell you from what you shared with me, one of the things that you can do with the game board is to look at areas where information is missing and then say whose responsibility was that. Oh, it wasn't me, it was her. But the bottom line, when you go to the airport and they say if you see something, say something. You see a bag or a package unattended, bring it to somebody's attention. You may say it's not my problem, and then a bomb goes off and you're like, oh my god, had I only told someone, someone's life could have been saved. So it's important when information is missing. As a team, we are one cohesive whole. We need to work together to help each other. It's not, I'm just going to do my part and then go home. It's not like, it may have been like that years ago when people worked, as admins or whatever. They had their little piece of work they did, and then they handed in and put it in the in basket and take the stuff from the out basket. It's not like that anymore. So project managers need to realize every action they do, it has another reaction, positive or negative, on the other people on the project and on the project and on the organization. So if they can't sit there and take responsibility for not turning in the report, now if there's not enough time, I work with project managers. I speak with project managers that tell me they're working 14-hour days, 18-hour days, hardly have time to go to the bathroom, all kinds of medical issues going on because they're stressing their body. That may be something that you need to address. No matter what, you got to speak up about it. Management might say, oh my God, had you only told us, you never told us. We didn't know that's against the law for you to work that many hours and not have a break or not have an official vacation 6 months and stuff like that. So you have to speak up. And what do we do as project managers? We communicate, listen, talk, send a note, read a note, upload, download, whatever. So you've got to communicate your needs. And I believe that is where the problem is. You talk about they may say they don't have time. Okay, then get a project coordinator, get a project assistant that can be one say, hey, do you have your reports? Or I'm going in your portal to get your stuff. Is it okay? Is it ready? Have somebody, a college summer hire to help you have to keep the reports up.
Thank you, Elaine. That really gives some insight, especially into the scenario that I just gave you, and one of the possible ways that we can make sure that people are putting their information in a place where it can be seen and also acted upon. Thank you. So I want to know, when you played the game, uh, tell me what the reactions are people having to the game. When people play the game, how are they coming away from the game?
Okay, so
And I'll yield the.
I have not gotten my copy yet, and I want to be transparent about that. I do have the Agile board coming to me. I figure I can talk waterfall till the cows come home. I can sleep it, dream it. You remember how you think about something so much that you start to dream about it. The bottom line is, I do believe Agile is the area where people may need more help. And the issues on the game board is looking at where are you having the problems on your project. And that's one of the things individuals can do, whether they have me come in and do a workshop in their company, whether they buy the board and then use it as like they have a Friday. Sometimes some companies have like after 12 noon, everybody goes to a boardroom. When we used to have boardrooms and we used to have physical meetings or people on site, they would go and say, okay, for anytime from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, it's networking time, come away from your office, but there has to be some format of allowing people to speak and share information. And I think that this is important to get people to just debrief and talk about the issues that they're having, or to talk about the challenges without feeling like they're pointing fingers at their manager or at administration or at even putting themselves at risk.
That makes perfect sense to me. One of the other questions I had, I know that today we won't discuss price or anything, but that's for people that are interested. How would they reach out to you? How would they contact you about getting the game? How could they find you and get you to help them get the game?
Okay, so you could listen on LinkedIn like this. I'm always talking on LinkedIn. I'm always discussing strategies, solutions, problems. Some people people meet me when I go to networking meetings and they say, "Oh my God, are you Elaine Jackson?" I'm like, "What's going on here?" They're like, "I've been following you for years. I got a stalker. How cute." It's just interesting that I think when you are an influencer, which I consider myself to be, because I'm not afraid to speak about the elephant in the room. I'm not afraid to speak about the things that go wrong. And I enjoy, excuse me, I enjoy speaking about the things that go well too. So you can reach me at Elaine Jackson at holisticpmc.com. Elaine Jackson, holisticpmc.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. I also have a digital business card. So there's a lot of different ways that you can find me. I also wanted to make a comment. I at one time, I realized, and people need to realize, you can learn a lot about yourself by playing something as simple as a game like PM Zone. I am the kind of person, when I go networking, I try to size up people, and I think people do that, but they never want to admit it. They say, what they say, a recruiter takes like 4 seconds to look at you, 4 seconds or whatever, 6 seconds to look at your resume and decide if they want to read more. Well, when I go onto a networking event or I go on a new project, I tend to look and judge people by, is this someone I feel I can trust? Is this someone that would be great as a team member? Is this person engaging? Do they seem to care about other people? It's just a whole assessment as to, if I had a problem on the team, could I reach out to that person? Now you may be thinking, oh my God, you can't do that and just meet somebody in the first moments, but it's got to start somewhere. So I tried to find out about that as quickly as possible. I played a game. It was a project management Lego game. And the game was to take all the pieces. And I didn't grow up in an era where we played Legos. We played with Barbie dolls. And so the Lego game was new to me at that point. It was like maybe 8, 9 years ago. And they had all the pieces in the box. And the thing was to build a house with a system and bring your team together and everybody decide what role they would take. And I noticed some people were being overly aggressive and pushy, and I'll do this and I'll do that. And you see them all huddling and elbowing each other. I stood on the outside and just watched to see who thought they were so smart and who had all the information and who was kind and whatever. And then when they burnt themselves out and started to not like each other, that's when I came in around and plant myself as, no, we don't have to fight. Let's try and get along. So I came in as the savior. So I find that I do that, and you can learn a lot about yourself by doing some gaming. You see that you're the person that wants to be, I want to be first. I'm the first at the table. I want to be the first one to touch the pieces. Does it really matter? If you have a certain amount of time, everybody can touch the pieces. You don't have to be the one to touch it first. But you sort of need to know the attitude and the behavior styles of the people you work with, so then you can decide how you can get them on your side, or maybe they need to not be on that team. Maybe they don't belong on that team.
So this particular game that we have, the PM Zone, is one where we could start to understand ourselves and each other and still play the game and see a opportunity to improve. You said that he had two versions. And the stuff that I was seeing on this website indicates that people have a lot of fun with this game. Could you tell me what role fun has in the project management space?
You have to have fun. You have to, as a project manager, I have a group called PM Stories. The day I passed my PMP exam, and people were sharing funny things that happened on the way to the exam, or funny things they saw in the PMP center when they in the Prometric center when they went in and people were having tantrums and stuff. I mean, I have always said I'd love to be like do a reality show of what happens as people head to the testing center and somebody's having a meltdown. It's not funny when someone has a meltdown, but it's interesting to see you're having a fit. You didn't have your ID on you. Your ID expired. Didn't they tell you to check your ID a month and a half ago? You didn't just book that test yesterday. I mean, so part of things that project managers do, they do it to themselves. They do it to themselves. You're late with your reports. I'm so mad. Why? Who are you mad at? Don't be mad at yourself and punch yourself in the face. Come on, let's be real. Let's stop the dramatic stuff and just clean up the behavior for next time. So I really enjoy Daniel Zitter is awesome. He's awesome. He's willing to work with any company that has any. If they wanted to have the game, he makes a way for them. The games are actually, I believe, I call stateside. They're on this side of the ocean, so you don't have to say, "Oh my God, it's coming from Israel. It'll take like supply chain. It might take months." Is no, he can get it to you fairly quickly. If it is that you want someone to do a workshop, for your team or for your management team or for your company, that's an opportunity to have just someone come in and moderate the game and then interject. This is where you find the information in the PMBOK, or this is where you find it in these various well-known project management resources.
As we're discussing the game, we have some interest in some people joining on one of those 5 platforms. We're on LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, and we're on Twitter, and something else, some on Instagram. We're all over the place. And we have a notice from waving to us from Zambia. So we're waving back to you, and we hope that you get a chance to play the game with us. I know that I'll be having another installment of a Final Friday where we're getting a chance to meet people, to understand who's in project management that is working with us to improve our styles. And I am supremely excited about this game. I hope that I could get it from my chapter. I'm looking forward to talking with the leaders there, the board of directors, and having them evaluate this particular tool with me, because I think it'll be great for our internal workings and also those for companies external to the Project Management Institute. So I'm looking forward to applying this game. Are there any final thoughts you have that you want people to know before we give them their Friday back?
No, I would say that if you're looking for an opportunity, maybe there are some challenges on your project, and your manager could be very firm in saying, "It's not me. I'm not the problem. I'm not the weak link." And you don't want it. Nobody wants to point fingers at anyone. No one wants to have someone point at them. So you, by playing this game, you say, "Okay, I'm going to play the manager, and you're going to play the team member. You're going to play the sponsor," so that the roles start to get reversed. Then the manager will get to see, or the sponsor or the stakeholder will get to see, other stakeholders will get to see, "Oh, this is why you guys have all these discussion points. I thought you guys were just like talking and, just shooting the breeze. You're actually pulling up important details. Oh, is this what the Kanban board does? Oh, so then start to interject the tools that you use. And are these the best tools for what we're doing right now? Are we getting the best results?" Maybe in your scenario from before, people were not reporting because the tool they were using was too complicated, or it didn't integrate. They're away from home, so they're not doing the VPN thing, and then they can't get on properly, and they're missing the security to make the tool work properly. There's a lot of different reasons why people people don't just not report because they don't want to. It's like, I'm not going to do it because you asked for it. You might get a little bit of that, but mostly it's because there's some other things going on that's making it complicated. And it's like, I'm running too fast to slow down and do what you need done here. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. And they just never get to it. So I say, set up a time for me to either run you through the game and maybe have a consult on some of the confidential consult on some of the things that might be happening, and play it out through the game and see the options that surface, and then decide if you'd like to have the game as a tool for reward and recognition events. You say, look, guys, we're going to go through this game. We're going to see how we're going to handle the situations.
I love it, Elaine, and I am thrilled that you were able to join us on this final Friday and give us a picture, an example of how we can begin going forward with the idea of capturing it via games. PM Zone is the spot. Daniel Zitter is the person that is selling the game. If you need help with it, you can contact Elaine Jackson. She will get you all set up. You can contact her on LinkedIn, and also her email address, which is Elaine Jackson at holisticpmc.com. Elaine, thank you. I want to just wish you well, and I look forward to meeting with you again. Thanks to all.
Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend. Have a great